Like I said, my name is Max Hargraves. Good morning, everybody. I'll be the acting Racing Commission Secretary today. The following is the December 9th, 2021, 694th regular Arizona Commission meeting taking place via Google Meets, and I will now do the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge?
Present.
Commissioner Garay?
Here.
Commissioner Olson?
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is 10:41 and the floor is yours, Chair Coolidge.
Thank you, sir. I'll call to order the 694th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting of December 9th, 2021. We would move into the executive session. Should we need to hear any of these? Looks like I saw Camila on. Any updates from the attorneys on that?
Good morning,
Yes,
Commissioners. This is Lena Kalkbrenner. Just some procedural updates on the items. I'm not certain that we need to go into executive session for them, but we can do that if you would like to.
No, I'd be happy to hear the updates.
Okay, we are filing a motion to dismiss on the Richard Troy Smith matter as discussed for a failure to file an opening brief. And the matter in the appeal of Turf Paradise and Arizona Downs has been rescheduled for a hearing on March 14th of 2022.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
As far as the appeal for turf racing, that's B2.
Yes, we do have a brief update for you guys in executive session if you are interested.
No problem. We'll move that we enter executive session.
And that was for item B3?
B2.
B2.
I'll second it.
I thought Lena gave us an update on that B2, that it was going to be heard March 14th.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Oh, excuse me. There was a B3 for Sims.
Yes.
Thanks, Commissioner. Move that we enter executive session for B3.
I'll second.
Great. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Garay to enter into executive session. Chair Coolidge?
Yes.
Chair Garay or Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
And Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Great. Motion passes. It looks like all commissioners are in attendance. I will do the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge,
Present.
Commissioner Gray,
Present.
and then Commissioner Olson.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. The floor is yours, Chair Coolidge.
Thank you, sir. We'll move to action item C1, which is the request for Arizona Downs off-track betting facility. I am going to table this item again just for my fellow commissioners as an update. We had a couple of meetings with Turf Paradise and Arizona Downs. It sounded like we have come to an agreement, or it did sound like we came to an agreement. I have not received any of the paperwork. It sounds like Turf Paradise has submitted it, but we are still waiting on Arizona Downs there, as well as some additional issues. So again, I would strongly urge both parties to move quickly. We have industries waiting, and it sounds like this test that we're going to put together could be the solution that we need moving forward. So now we're waiting on the racetracks. We'll move to action item C2. No, thanks. We're going to move to C2, which is the simulcast agreement pursuant to ARS 5-112U, which is Arizona Downs, Turfway, Fairgrounds, Oak Lawn, Tampa Bay Downs, Mahoning Valley, Charleston National Parks, Aqueduct, and it would just be Aqueduct. Mr. Duncan, do you want to give an update with anything that you have there?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I supplied and reviewed the contracts and all is in order. The division would recommend that the 5112U contracts be approved for item C2A 1 through 9 for Arizona Downs.
Director, this is Dave Johnson. I have my hand raised, please.
May I ask a question, Mr. Duncan, before we move on to comments?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Mr. Duncan, on item C2A for Tampa Bay Downs, it referenced an exhibit, but I didn't see one in our packet. Is the commission, I guess, in the department in possession of that exhibit and recommend that that is also looking good to go?
Yes, everything is in our possession.
Thank you.
Also, as a follow-up on that, would you mind sending that to the commissioners just so that we have a record of it as well?
Okay, will do.
Mr. Johnson, are you going to be referencing the current action item we're on?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Chair, Commissioners, Dave Johnson from Turf Paradise. As you know, under ARS 5112U, it says that each permittee must be offered a contract and the signal be fair and not anti-competitive or deceptive. At this moment, Turf Paradise has not received a contract from number 5, 6, 7, and 8, which would be Mahoning Valley, Charlestown, Penn National, and Parks. So therefore, we would ask that you not approve those. Or if I may make a recommendation, being the holiday season, and I know nobody wants to have to schedule a special meeting to get these approved, if they could be approved contingent upon both permittees submitting a contract and to the Department of Racing. I'm sure that Arizona Downs will probably have the same concern in regards to Sunland. So it could apply both ways. But again, we haven't even received the contract for those tracks, so we can't even offer them. We couldn't even turn something into the department.
Have you requested those contracts?
Yes, sir. We requested them in November.
When in November did you request those contracts?
It was right after the Thanksgiving holiday season.
Okay, so they've only had it for like 2 weeks.
As far as our request,
Your request.
yes.
Okay.
Maybe this is a question for the department or one of the licensees, but when is the earliest I suppose, affected race date from items 5 through 8 that we would need to be aware of?
I believe it's, this is Dave Johnson. I believe it is January 4th, which would be Penn National and Parks.
Does the department have any additional information on that?
Mr. Chairman, I do not in front of me, I do not.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may be heard.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
My recommendation would be that this matter get tabled and allow the department additional time to check with NYRA. Last I had heard was that there was some communication between NYRA and Arizona Downs that they were going to offer the signal only to Arizona Downs and kind of play a monarch situation with turf. So my preference would be that we contact NYRA and see whether or not they even have any intentions to provide Turf Paradise the signal.
Mr. Johnson, you didn't itemize Aqueduct. Should I be bundling that in your 5 through 8?
It is my understanding that I have already been approved for Aqueduct through their winter meet.
Okay.
But if that is based on a rollover agreement, and I guess if there was some concern on the department's part that that may be terminated, then yes, I would have some concerns with that, and maybe that should be part of this request.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, or motions from my fellow commissioners on that?
Chair, just a similar question is, I noticed item 4, I don't think that was also included, but that's also a NYRA. Is that the same situation as Aqueduct?
Mr. Johnson.
Chair, commissioners, yes, I since Tampa Bay is represented by NYRA, then I guess it should be also included.
Okay. Mr. Author, are you raising your hand still for a former action item or for C2?
For C2?
I'm gonna get on.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Director Casillas just made a comment about NYRA trying to withhold a signal from Turf Paradise. We haven't heard anything about that. And we just,
I just spoke with Joe Longo. He said, no, there's no, that did not happen. He said, we just negotiated an extension with Monarch that, and I don't know if Dave Johnson, but that contract automatically renews. But certainly nobody said we're going to do to turf what Monarchs do in Arizona Downs. I don't know where that's.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
well,
I'm going to go ahead.
just to finish the point. I don't know why NYRA doesn't have, or why Turf doesn't have copies of these contracts. We submitted them as appropriate, and they ought to be approved. And we don't have any objection if you want to conditionally approve Turf Paradise, subject to them getting the contracts into you signed. But we don't have any control over whether Turf Paradise gets its paperwork in. And there isn't any collusion. There isn't anything going on. We got our papers in, and the contracts ought to be approved under that section. And when Turf gets their contract signed, which I'm sure will be in the next few days, we don't have any problem with them being approved. But I don't see why we get tabled for another 30 days and lose races. It's nuts.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
This is Jerry Sims. Can I make a comment? Can I make a
Mr.
comment?
Sims,
This is Jerry Sims.
Mr. Sims, I need you to hold on one second. Commissioner, I think we have a question from the commissioner.
Yeah,
Commissioner
Mr.
Wilson, do you have
Author.
a question for Mr. Author?
I do. Mr. Author, I just wanted to ask to see if you agree that January 4th is the first date that would be of a race date, so that we're mindful of that information.
Okay, Commissioner Olson, we're checking.
Yeah,
We'll have an answer in a minute.
Thank you.
I can't answer that right now, but let me see if
What's your password?
Mr. Sims, why don't you take a minute or two?
Thank you. Commissioners and folks from Radar, I want to just tell you that some months back, I had conversations with Mr. Longo from NYRA and even his boss. His name escapes me for a moment, but they were threatening to do the same thing that Director Casillas just mentioned. And so it's not something that is far-fetched or they wouldn't do. That is what he told me they were going to do if certain things didn't happen. And so it could very well be that that's why we're not, but it's not fair under that statute to offer it to one and not
Understood.
offer it to the others.
I appreciate it, sir. At this point, I'm not interested in the he said, she said items. We're really just dialing into these agreements. So while the authors are reviewing those dates, I'm going to go ahead and move that we approve Arizona Downs, Turfway, Fairgrounds, and Oak Lawn.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Garay. I will read the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Garay,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson.
Yes.
That motion passes. Thank you.
Also, to the person that is unknown that's raising a hand, you can go ahead and click into comments and identify yourself. Mr. Author, do you have that date?
I do not have that date right now. Again, we're looking at when the NYRA tracks that are up for approval will first run those meets. Is that Commissioner Olson? Is that your question?
That's right. We just want to be aware of the time sensitivities of the initial race meets.
Chair, this is Dave. I do have an answer to those questions.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, so Chairman, members of the commission, the tracks that are under concern, the Mahonings, Charlestown, Penn, and Parks, they actually fall under the agreement with Penn National Gaming, but the start date on those would be January 1.
Understood. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I see that in the next section under where the timing of the import signals. All those tracks start on January 1.
Got it. Thanks, guys. Okay, any other questions or concerns for my commissioners or motions? Otherwise, I'm going to move that we conditionally approve Tampa Bay Downs, Mahoning Valley, Charlestown, Penn National, Parks, and Aqueduct, provided we have the prerequisite approvals, contracts for both tracks, and are not seeing any disruption in signal.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Garay. I will read the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Garay,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson.
Yes.
Thank you. Those signals are conditionally approved.
We'll move to 2B for Turf Paradise, which is Sunland Park, Oak Lawn Park, Parkway Park, Fairgrounds, and Louisiana Downs. We are aware of the Sunland Park issue, but Mr. Duncan, do you see any other issues in your packet?
Mr. Chairman, I do not. Everything is complete.
Here. My commissioners have any questions there?
No.
I'm going to move that we approve Turf Paradise's Oaklawn Park, Turfway Park, Fairgrounds, and Louisiana Downs.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Garay. I'll read the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Garay,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes.
I'll also move that we conditionally approve Sunland Park for Turf Paradise conditionally upon the fact that we have all the prerequisite materials, contracts, and don't see a disruption in service for both tracks.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Gray. I'll read the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. That agreement is conditionally approved.
Move to action item 3A, which is simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to the IHA section 3004A3. Arizona Downs, same as always, Turfway, Fairgrounds, Oak Lawn, Tampa Bay Downs, Mahoning Valley, Charlestown, Penn National Parks, Aqueduct. Any questions or concerns from my commissioners on that?
Unless there's an update from the department on what documents are outstanding, I'd move to conditionally approve all signals pursuant to simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3, condition on the fact that we get the requisite documentation and including the 5112U contract approvals that were conditionally approved for racetracks 4 through 9.
And leave it up to the department so that they don't see a delay.
Correct.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Olson and a second by Commissioner Coolidge. I will read the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson.
Yes.
Thank you. Those signals are conditionally approved.
Of course, they start cutting down a tree, so I apologize. The background noise on my end. We'll move to 3B, Turf Paradise, Sunland Park, Oak Lawn Park, Turfway Park, Fairgrounds, and Louisiana Downs. Any questions or concerns there?
Commissioner Coolidge, just to make a note, that is actually item C5, not C3. We had a small formatting error, so it skips from 2 to 5 under the action items.
Got it.
Unless there's an update from the department, I'll move to approve.
Conditionally?
Well, I believe we have everything for Oak Lawn, Turfway, and Fairgrounds, so I was going to do two different motions.
Commissioner.
So first, I'll make a motion to approve Turf Paradise simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3 for Oak Lawn, Turfway, and Fairgrounds.
Second.
Thank you. I have a
Commissioner Ray has the second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Olson and a second by Commissioner Gray. I will do the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson.
Yes.
Thank you. Those import signals are approved.
I'd also like to make a motion to approve Turf Paradise's simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3, conditioned on the receipt of the requisite documents for Sunland Park and Louisiana Downs, including the 5112U contract for Sunland Park. So, and we'd like to empower the department to make those approvals so that the racetracks do not see any further delay.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Olson and a second by Commissioner Gray. I'll do the roll call. Commissioner Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson.
Yes.
Thank you. Those import signals are conditionally approved.
Thank you, sir. We'll move to the information reports.
Real quick, Mr. Chair, I do have a question comment regarding 511U. I mean, I think by now the tracks know what signals they're going to be carrying next year. And I'm kind of wondering if there's some process we could get into place where they put in their request early on in the year and we can at least get a conditional approval for them. And then as the department gets the paperwork in, to just keep moving on so we don't run into problems like we have in the past couple of years with 511U.
Commissioner Gore, are you directing the department to build out a protocol there?
I would like to see something like that, yes. And I think Dave Johnson has his hand up.
I just want to make sure the department's aware of the request that was just made.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I believe Dave is going to speak about that. I've spoken to Dave a little bit about that. I'll let him speak to you a little bit more about it.
Can you use Dave's last name as well, please?
Dave Johnson.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity to speak. Brian, thank you. I have been speaking with Brian Duncan on this for a while now, and under 5112U, it does request that each permittee be offered an agreement and that the rates be fair and competitive. And as Commissioner Garay just said, we pretty much know every single track that we're going to take throughout the year. We know which track. I mean, these tracks run pretty similar meets every season, and it's pretty much standard operating procedure that we're going to get the agreement, we're going to get the approvals. We already know what, we pretty much know exactly what the rates are going to be. And in almost every jurisdiction, the way it is done is a list of tracks with the rates are submitted to the commission early or at the end of the year for the following year's approvals. And the commission will grant an approval based on the list of tracks that have been submitted and the rates that are being expected to be paid. What I would like to see is that both permittees submit a list of every single racetrack that we intend to import and simulcast, along with the rates we expect to pay. The commission can review it, compare it, and as long as the rates are fair and not anti-competitive, they're not deceptive, as long as that is judged by this commission, then you can give a blanket approval based on the contracts being submitted and the approvals under the Interstate Horse Racing Act being submitted in a timely manner. And the department can ensure that those are in place before any signal and wagering is taking place. It sure would improve the process. It would make everybody's job a lot easier, and it would eliminate the problem of any disruption in these signals being offered to the public. And the main reason, and when I really started thinking about this, was when we lost Kentucky Downs. And Kentucky Downs it's a very short meet. We almost lost the entire meet. In fact, Arizona Downs did end up losing the entire meet. And it really wasn't fair to the public. It's something that really shouldn't have happened. And this seems to be an acceptable solution because it gives you the opportunity to approve everything under what the law says. So that's just it. I've been, like I said, I've been speaking with Mr. Duncan about this. I've shared with him my thoughts, and I think it would be something that I would like to recommend for this commission to try and do.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Director Casillas and Mr. Duncan, I'm going to go ahead and move that we ask the department to provide an overview of what the department thinks will accomplish the request from Commissioner Gore and submit that to the commissioners for review.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
Oh, please don't take a vote on that. It's not an agendized matter. That would just be on a future agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Okay.
Understood.
Okay, we'll move to the information reports. Dr. Gale, do you want to give us an update there?
Yes, I can. It looks like you can hear me. All right. Since the beginning of the Fall Turf Paradise meet here in November, We did have 2 horses that broke down and need to be euthanized. This brings us to a total in the calendar year of 2021 of 17 horses. And there have been approximately 8,718 starts. Here, I can do that too. And so that works out to a rate of about 1.95 breakdowns per 1,000 starts. And that's been fairly consistent through the year. And we've been doing a good job with the pre-race exams. Some horses have been found to be unsound on race day and not allowed to run. And I think it's doing a good job of discouraging trainers from entering horses that might be suspect, because if their horse is found unsound, they wind up going on the veterinarian's list and are not able to enter for a significant period of time until they show that the horse is indeed sound. That's the main thing I have. The only other thing I would comment on is the bridle path that extends from the K&L rows on the backside up to the paddock gate is being maintained, and I think that's a definite benefit to the horses. I believe Brian might have some other comments.
Yes, Mr. Commissioner. You should have received from Cassie a couple of reports that I had done prior to them opening and as we were opening. Just letting everybody know that I am at turf 3 to 4 times a week, talking with turf management, trying to find resolutions to things I see and what I hear from others. I'm always in constant contact with the track superintendent, Ralph Heitzenrader. He keeps me updated on the new equipment that comes in, anything that breaks down, and then also updates me when it does get fixed. But I am out there 3 to 4 times a week, constantly talking with management to make sure that things are getting fixed. There are a few things right now that still need to be looked at, and we're trying to find solutions to. Some of them being some of the ruts between the barn rows. They did fill a lot of them over the summer, but there are still some that have not been filled, and it's tough to do now that we're running live. They do fill with water. They do use the sweepers on them. We're still trying to find a better solution than just sweeping them all the time. And then there is the speakers that I'm constantly working on with the management to try and find a solution. There are a few speakers out, and last I have talked to management, Mr. Francia, was they believe they have a cut in the line. In order for them to find it, they would have to do a lot of trenching, and it really isn't feasible at this moment while you're running live. But again, we are trying to work with management and see if we can find a solution.
I do have one question, and I don't know, Brian, if you can answer it, or maybe Mr. Francius would be able to answer it. I know every year it seems to be that when we go from the cooler season to when we start getting warm and dry, we always seem to have an uptick in issues out on the track with the horses being injured. Do we have any plan in place this year to kind of be ahead of that and get the sand out prior and keep the track in proper order so we don't have breakdowns as soon as the dry season hits?
We did meet with the track man last week with the HPPA as well. And we are talking about that and trying to stay ahead of any injuries. But to your point, yes, Commissioner, we are trying to talk about it and make sure we stay ahead of the game.
All right, and I do believe Mr. Francia has his hand up.
Thank you, Commissioner, Chairman, and Commissioners. Yes, to directly come on point to your question, we are scheduled this Saturday to add the number 10 mesh to the track. Of course, I think as everybody knows here in the Valley, the rain is scheduled for this evening, so it's kind of depending on what the rain does, but we're scheduled to do that. The second thing that activates the track that we keep an eye on and requires the addition of sand and or organics is when the temperatures drop into the 40s as they do at night, it causes the clay to start to ball up, which causes a number of problems. One is clods being thrown back at riders, trailing horses, hitting horses and riders. And so that's the other reason why we add the sand. But we are scheduled to add the number 10 mesh this Saturday. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. I had nothing further.
Mr. Duncan, we look forward to receiving additional updates as you have them. Appreciate your time on that. Okay, we'll move to the budget report. Mr. LaForest. Or Director Casillas.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. LaForest is unavailable. We do not show any concerns as far as budget goes at this present time, so nothing additional to report.
Appreciate it. Mr. Gessman, do you have updates on the IHIA?
Yes, Commissioner. Leroy Gessman with the HPPA. As you may know, this week we had the annual symposium in down at Tucson with the U of A racetracks program. There was a lot of discussion on HISA and the implementation of it. There hasn't been a lot changes. There is a couple things I would like to report. It was very the report I gave you on safety regulations last month, and that copy has been submitted to the Federal Trade Commission for approval. The copy that you have is pretty much the copy that was submitted. They said there was some grammar and spelling corrections, but the body of the request is pretty much what it was. The one thing they did make very clear, if tracks do not follow the safety regulations, they will pull the right for that track to send out their export signals. They did make that clear in the meeting there the other morning. The other thing that they're still working on is the medication rules. They hope to have that done, and they have to have it submitted to the FTC by December 17th. So once we get a copy, I'll forward that to the commissioners as well. As far as there was a lot of discussion on HISA for and against, as you might imagine, but as of right now, there's been no changes in the status of either lawsuit, and their plans are still implementing it on July 1st of 2022. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Well, sir, great information. We appreciate the update and look forward to hearing about the medication update once you get that. Any questions from my fellow commissioners? Thank you, Mr. Gessman. Move to Permittee Reports, American Greyhound Racing.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we have no update this month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Arizona Downs, do you want to give an update?
Commissioner Chairman Coolidge and everybody else is Tom Author. Just quick update. We don't have a whole lot to say. I just want to clarify. I just got off the phone with Joe Longo at NYRA, and you know, first of all, if they pulled that kind of move, we'd jump down their neck so fast because, and he promised me that he's not playing any games, and they have an agreement with Monarch, who is Turf's agent. So I don't know what happened, but I think it's probably a paper shuffling issue. But understand that we would never do a kind of a tit for tat kind of thing. And I hope everybody, I don't know where Director Casillas heard that. If Mr. Sims had that conversation 3 months ago, they certainly wouldn't have waited till now to do it. So I just want to assure you we would never do that. And I don't want anybody going away think we're being difficult. So at any rate, hopefully that'll get straightened out. I strongly support what Rory suggested, or Commissioner Gore, and which Dave Johnson addressed, which is to the extent we could bundle all these deals together in one fell swoop early, I think that makes everybody's life easier. And if maybe there's one that gets left out, we can deal with that at a particular meeting. But I think that's a great idea. To the extent it's doable, I'm all for it. By the way, I see Andrew Hammack, who's from NYRA's hand just went up. So, but anyway, that's my update.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Hi, yeah, I'm Andrew. Do you mind if I hop in? I just got on the call earlier. Charlie Billingsley had reached out to me, so I just want to say I'm available. If anyone does have questions, let me know and I can take some notes. Joe is on a flight. He's landing later this afternoon, so happy to answer anything offline or anytime if you need.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. And thank you to Arizona Downs for the update. We look forward to those conditional approvals turning into approvals. Mr. Hammack, I hope that you might reach out to Turf Paradise offline to make sure they have their ducks in a row. We can turn these into approvals for everybody.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
We'll move to county fairs. I guess I should have jumped to Rito right after that. I know Tucson Greyhound Park doesn't have an update this time. Turf Paradise.
Thank you, Chairman Coolidge, Commissioners. Very quickly, again, to reiterate, the number 10 mesh goes on this Saturday. And yes, Inspector Duncan and I cross paths several times during the week. It's very helpful because things come to his attention that I may not be aware of, and I can get him immediate answers or take corrective action within a couple of days. Briefly, we're 24 days into the meet, which means we have 100 race days, live race days to go yet. And through those 24 days, the average purse right now that we're giving out is 144,000 plus, as compared to 101,000 last season. When you look at the total purses that we've given out so far, 3.4 million as compared to 2.3. That is a positive swing to the horsemen's purses of $1.1 million. So we're very happy about that. We have a full flight of water trucks up and running now. We have 5 tractors up and running. So everything operationally from the maintenance part, which maintains the track and keeps it safe, is going along real fine. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer. If not, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Chairman, this is Jerry Sims. Could I take a moment and say something?
Yes, sir. Briefly.
Thank you. I'll be brief. At the symposium 2 days ago, they had a 15-minute period for questions. Tom Arthur got up and told how bad Turf Paradise is and how bad Monarch is.
Sir, is this a permittee report for Turf Paradise?
Well, I don't know where I'd put it in. Maybe I'll save it till the comments for the call to the public. I just wanted to make sure people were aware that this occurred.
Yes, sir. Happy to acknowledge you for call of the public if this doesn't have anything to do with the permittee report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Industry Stakeholder Association updates. Arizona Counties Racing Association. Arizona Quarter Horse Racing Association. Thoroughbred Breeders Association. HBPA.
Yes, Commissioner Coolidge, fellow commissioners, Leroy Guessman with the Arizona HBPA. President Hutton is traveling today and was unable to be on the call, but he has a written statement he'd like me to read. It starts off with reminding everyone of R19 5-2-104, a permittee shall maintain the grounds in a neat, clean, and safe environment. The track kitchen and the clubhouse are still not open for food service. The track kitchen not being open puts pressure on the backside workers. They have to leave the property to get something to eat. The track kitchen was supposed to be open on September 27th. At this time, the clubhouse still isn't open and has no food service. The clubhouse serves a lot of different purposes, but the most important part is it gives the trainers the opportunity to share a meal with their owners while firming up their relationships. The general admission side of the track is not conducive for entertaining and racing enthusiasts or novice patrons who may be going to the races for the first time. The most likely thing that will take place with the customers who go to Turf Paradise for the first time is they won't return. The current situation at Turf Paradise hurts the horsemen in multiple ways, but the two most glaring are we cannot find a fan base due to the inadequate facility that horsemen and patrons are living in daily. The second is the condition of the facility pushes people from going to Turf Paradise where the horsemen share in a 50-50 split. We noted back in 2019, the daily handle was between 50 and 55,000 a day on track. And so far this year, it's been running between 20 and 25,000. In comparison to Arizona Downs this summer, averaged 35,000 a day. So as you can see, this has an effect on our purse account. He also wanted me to mention he's concerned about the position the commission has taken regarding disallowing further expansion of OTB networks. The thing that concerns us is in 2019, there were 63 OTBs in the Turf Paradise system. Following the pandemic, 55 of those reopened. 8 of them did not. But the thing that is so concerning to the horsemen and their purse account is on November 30th of 2021, there were only 39 Turf Paradise OTBs still open. So the number of OTBs is declining, and we are quite concerned that you've put this moratorium on opening more OTBs because the numbers are dwindling, and we need these OTBs as the lifeline of our purse accounts, and we would like to see these be reopened and get back up to the 63 number that we had prior to the pandemic. As much as we would like to see Gulfstream's signal and Santa Anita signal at our OTB locations, we are not in favor of showing content from an entity, outside entity, that is dictating how we do business in Arizona. The last thing on his report is we have filed some grievances with the stewards on different issues of safety and concern on the backside and at the track. And those grievances were filed on November 17th. And as of today, we still have had no response from those grievances. According to Rule 19-2-121, paragraph D, number 1, that complaints filed with the stewards are supposed to have a written report done on them within 5 days. And we are well past the 5 days. That concludes Mr. Hutton's statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
This is Jurgensen.
Actually,
May I respond?
Mr. Chair, I do have a comment I would like to make regarding this, if I may.
Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Just one item. Yeah, and you brought up the kitchen, and I think those are items you guys negotiated in the contract, and that's not items we, the commission, have any authority over. If it's something you negotiated in a contract, I believe those items have to be handled the way the contract states they should be handled. So I don't know what good it does bringing up items that we can't act on. And with regards to the OTBs, I fully understand. I want to see the OTBs open too. And I don't think there is really technically a moratorium on no more OTBs, but we are just getting tired of all these games that are being played. And I do believe not having the Monarch signal is impacting handles. And we just need to end all this, get a negotiation done, and get everything turned back on. That's my.
Thanks, Commissioner, and I appreciate your sentiments. And as far as the track safety concerns go, I hope that the HBPA is in constant communication with Mr. Duncan and the department. Sounds like that's moving in the right direction, minus the steward's side. And again, there's what the former commissioner just said. As far as the off-track betting goes, the only slowdown that we've had is one OTB in Maricopa County. We've had multiple conversations with both tracks for as long as I've been on this commission to try to resolve it. And at least a year and a half, I've said, listen, if you don't resolve it, you're not going to like the way that we resolve it. Clearly, they didn't take that seriously. We moved to the next phase of this to get that done. And it looks like we might have a soft resolution to see how this will impact the handle as a whole. And we are doing it directly for the people involved, just like the HPPA. So we appreciate the input and look forward to the department looking into any track safety issues that you may have identified. Last one is Jockeys Guild.
I didn't get to speak.
You're speaking now. Do you need a minute, sir? And Mr. Mayor, the only reason you didn't get to speak is I don't have an identity for whoever is account you're signed into. So all I see is unknown. So were you looking to speak, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I think it would be helpful. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. It's something I should have included under the Turf Paradise report. Let me address the track kitchen. And speaking with Anna Denny, she's the woman who's taking charge of the kitchen. The city inspectors were in last week. I haven't heard any problems. She hasn't called me. I do have a call into her. And I do agree with Mr. Guessman. The track kitchen is important for many reasons, that it be open and serving food. To the clubhouse, in the past couple weeks and months, we have been through any number of food vendors, from very big ones like Delaware North and Sodexo, Chili's, and they all find Turf Paradise very interesting. They like the venue, but apparently it's not a good market right now for big restaurateurs to get involved in this sort of thing. So what we have done and what we're going to do a week from tomorrow, that would be not this Friday, but next Friday, I'm going to have the clubhouse open as to whether, and that's for people to come up, owners, of course, patrons, and enjoy the races from the clubhouse. I am working and do have in March with an outfit that handles our vending machines, but it's a step up from the vending machines. It's like a mini market. When you go into a mini market, they sell salads and sandwiches. And so that's the route we're going now, because it's the only thing that's available. Their supply chain has been curtailed somewhat, but they do expect the equipment and all that is needed to provide this, the food part of it. But I do intend to have the clubhouse open next Friday for everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the courtesy.
Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. As far as the last industry stakeholders, Jockeys Guild, are they on?
Good afternoon, Chairman Coolidge and Commission. This is Daryl here, Western Regional Manager with the Jockeys Guild. The Jockeys Guild continues to work with management at Turf Paradise on safety concerns. And I'm glad that we finally have enough water trucks, working water trucks and tractors to maintain the racetrack. Also, there was concern with the jockeys room, the trash not being collected in the jocks room for a few days, but that's been resolved. And hopefully we can continue to move forward to make Turf Paradise a safe environment for all. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the input. Move to commission reports. I don't have any on my calendar here. Do any of my other commissioners have any direction they'd like to give or matters to bring to future agendas?
Just the one from earlier.
Lena, I don't think we need anything more than action back from the department. We don't need to vote on that, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, ma'am. Move to call the public. The only person I have is Mr. Sims.
Thank you, and Chairman, and thank you, Commissioners. Just 2 days ago, at that symposium, as I mentioned before, they offered 15 minutes for comments. Tom Arthur got up and completely over and over, he took 10 minutes of the 15. The Monarchs are bad, Turf Paradise is bad. And here sits a room with 200, there were 200 people in that room from the industry, from all over the country and a few out of the country. And those are people we do business with, we have contracts with. And it paints a very bad picture for Arizona racing. And most of the people, I'm sure, had no idea what he was talking about. But it was just terrible to have. And I don't know what he hoped to achieve by doing that, because at the same time, we're trying to do this beta test that we all agreed to, that their OTBs in Maricopa County with addition of 2 and ours would all get the Monarch signal. And we would look back June 30th and let the beta test run till then. And everybody was in agreement on the phone. And as usual, when you get off the phone, then they start disagreeing with the deal that we all just agreed to. So it makes me think, and also this symposium stunt, to me, what could you be thinking? You're asking Monarch to give you their signal, and you're getting up in front of there was a panel of real experts in the industry, the heads of all the Monarch tracks, the heads of Del Mar East, and all these, and then the 200 people in the audience. And I'm saying, you really don't want Monarch's signal, Arizona Downs, because you're getting up in front of the whole industry and telling how bad they are. And we took just as much of the brunt. But anyway, I wanted everybody to know, and it's bad for racing in Arizona to have those kind of things. And I don't know how you undo it, but we have contracts with those same tracks that are sitting there, and they're our business partners. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. Mike Senior.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. So, I'm just a concerned horse player. I've spoken before once. This was before sports betting became legal in Arizona. And I would just like to wonder a couple of things. And I have one question that somebody maybe from Turf Paradise can answer. But first of all, this thing on OTBs, I'm curious why now everybody even mentions this, because on September 9th, everybody with a phone or computer or internet access has an OTB. We all can bet from home. We can bet from anywhere. And sometimes I think people on this call forget that. And the decisions that are made on this call now affects millions of people in Arizona can use your product. And before sports betting became legal, there wasn't a lot of people doing this, right? You had to do it on a phone. That was the only way. But after September 9th, it became legal. We can do it on the internet. We can do it on our phones. We can do it on our tablets, computers. You know, I would never want to start an OTB business at this point unless, you know, I was doing it because I had great food and great drinks. You know, because even if I go to your OTB, I can just sit there and bet on my phone. So this thing about OTBs, I don't get it. I mean, I think, you know, the business model changed on September 9th. And I think the horse racing industry has forgotten that and needs to move forward and realize that you guys can, I mean, there's so much opportunity out there for you guys, and you're just fighting and bickering, and yet there's people, every person with a phone can bet on your product. The other thing I want to bring up is
You have 90 seconds, sir.
Sorry. Real quick, I just wanted to bring up the fact that there's still some confusion with tracks on what to offer. I want to tell you a little story real quick. Turf Paradise started their meet on, I think it was November 15th. Twin Spires was not offering it. I chatted with them and they said, oh, it's because of the Monarch dispute. I go, no, you guys have always offered turf. So I sent them an email, and finally the next day they said, oh, sorry, they corrected it. But that was a whole day at Twin Spires that turf could not be betted on. And now there's this weird thing on TVG where Mountaineer on Mondays has been blacked out. And they offer Mountaineer everywhere else, Express Bet and Twin Spires on Mondays, but TVG stopped showing Mountaineer on Mondays for no reason. And I have a thread of emails and they don't even know why. They said Turf Paradise said they don't offer Mountaineer on Mondays, yet they do. Anyway, I'm curious why those things happen and how we can get them corrected. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Nolan?
Hello?
Sir.
Hello. Good morning, Commission. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll be brief. Now that the Commission has that safety report, and some of the awareness that safety report should bring to you is the fact that these things didn't happen overnight. There's 15 to 20 years of neglect that are being brought to your attention. I think that the department has been only telling you half the stories in these past years, that you don't get the full truth of the problems that exist. The safety report brings to light many, many problems. The HPBA has addressed grievances that the regulators are failing to go through the administrative process. I've heard comments that they want to take it to a civil matter, but the civil matter can't proceed until you exhaust your administrative remedies. When a grievance is filed, there's a written report that could be appealed. They need to follow the regulatory scheme so that people can move forward and be held accountable. Now, the Commission, Commissioner Coolidge and Commissioner Gorey, I believe you've both been confirmed by the Senate. Therefore, you need to look out for the interest of the people of the state of Arizona. And Ms. Olson, I don't believe you've been confirmed yet, but and it was mentioned to me that Chanel and Wilmer is a client of Mr. Sims, and that doesn't faze me in the least. I've looked up your bio, and it's an honor to have you serve. Anyone with magna cum laude of law school, Order of the COAF, editor-in-chief of the Law Review, we welcome you and we thank you, and we hope that you do the right thing. This is a very difficult time in our state. We have turmoil. You talked about executive item number 3, Sims. What is alleged in those proceedings need to be dealt with. They need to. It is so concerning to our industry in the state that it may even warrant a Department of Justice investigation. That is serious when you get it all the way to the state Supreme Court, and what the basis of that commission lawsuit and appeal by the permittee, what is alleged, needs to be dealt with. It's just not going to go away. There are several issues.
1 minute.
I hope that this awareness, and I can't thank Mr. Duncan enough, and I hope he didn't get spanked. I'm sorry, Mr. Duncan, but you have broad shoulders. You did the right thing by coming forward. It should bring more awareness to this commission that there are problems that have come to light for years. Please take this more serious. I hope you don't adjourn this meeting. I hope that you continue it tomorrow. Be out there to see on a rainy day the real truth of it, because you've only been told half the truth by our regulators. It's like that movie. They can't handle the truth. Then this is why our industry's in the problem it is. The money that the legislature has put forward that they talked about in the purses, it's wonderful. But that is our legislators that work. The Senator Gowan and those down there that have fought to stimulate the Arizona agricultural entertainment business of horse racing and breeding. It is the legislators that have rescued us. Not permittee that there's 1,600 stalls. If an average of 3,000 per horse.
That's your time. Thank you very much.
Please take it more serious. I thank you for your time, and commissioners, and thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Author.
It's Tom Author. You probably assumed that I'd be responding. Yes, I did get up and make a speech. There was a panel. It consisted of, in part, one of the gentlemen from Monarch, Craig Fravel, and a gentleman, Mr. I believe Rubenstein from Del Mar. And it was mainly about how great everything is, and we're all getting along, and we can't be fighting. And then they said, is there anybody in the audience who has any issues they'd like to bring up right now? So I got up and I started by saying, with the utmost respect, I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, but we have a big issue in Arizona now. I simply relayed the situation. And I asked Monarch, why won't you send the signal in? And I asked Del Mar, what good is it that you're costing your horsemen $750,000 a year in purse money by not letting us bet on you here? I didn't say anything during that conversation that I haven't said in front of this commission. You all know how I feel. I didn't flatter either of those people, but I made sure they knew this was only my opinion. Several questions were asked. I went too long. I readily admit that. But of the 200 people, I would say 100 of them afterwards came up to me and said, thank you for saying something that needs to be said. And prior to that meeting, it had gotten back to me that the Monarch people had said, we don't have any interest in this beta thing. So that further motivated me to say what I said. And I simply asked them, how come you won't send the signal? It doesn't make any sense. We've heard it's because we don't pay our bills. That's not true. We've offered to escrow the money. And I did say, they asked me, what do you think the reason is? And I gave them the reason. And I think you all know what it is. It goes back to a personal animus between somebody at Monarch and a former partner of ours. And I do think that, candidly, that Turf Paradise could pick up the phone, call Monarch, and get the signal in 5 minutes. But I want to assure you, I did not say anything profane. It's just an issue in this state that the rest of the country needs to know about. And I was very respectful. I don't think Mr. Sims was there, so he's getting this hearsay. Leroy Guessman was there. Anybody who wants to chime in to say I was a jerk or whatever, that's fine. But I think I was very respectful and did a decent job. But I don't know. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. And thank you for allowing me to rebut.
Yes, sir. Next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Thursday, January 13th, 2022, likely via Google Meet. With that said, I'll hear a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Gray and a second by Commissioner Coolidge. I'll read the roll. Commissioner Coolidge?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
And Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.